Hey everyone, it's Cashew, and today's adventure brings us to Bardstown, Kentucky, and I'll be going with some friends. I'll be going there with Chris and Mindy from Chris About T-Shirts, and Scott and Tracy, who are friends of the channel. And I had a little bit of technical difficulty, but I was able to salvage it, and I think you'll enjoy it. So let's get started. Our adventure starts here. Our first stop was the Tavern, and it had had a fire and had some damage, and I'll show you that shortly. But this is how it looks in the restaurant. We did not eat there, but we did look around at Scott's recommendation, and I'm glad we went. It had some very nice things. They do have a room named the Lincoln Suite after Abraham Lincoln. I believe he stayed there at one point, and so they have a room named after him. Jesse James also stayed there and put a couple bullets in the walls as well. In 1998 there was a fire, and this is the mural room and shows you what they were able to preserve. And they also have some items they found during the cleanup of the fire, and I'll show those to you in just a minute. This is the case that contained items that they've discovered during the cleanup after the fire. Here are a couple of buckles from shoes, and as you can see, these are nails that date back to the 1700s that were discovered after the fire. In the tavern, you can see they have a wide assortment of spirits, including, of course, bourbon. And on the wall, they have a description of the shootout with the members of the James Gang in downtown Bardstown, and I'll get a close-up of it so you can freeze frame and read it. Next, we went to the Jailer's Inn, which is a bed and breakfast, but you can also get a tour of the jail. And it was very interesting, to say the least. The jail had been built in 1874, and it was actually used, as you can see, until 1987. The photos you see on the wall are pictures of hangings that they had in the back of the jail. So when someone was executed, it took place in the yard behind the jail. And here you see the guide showing us one of the cells that now doubles as a room since it's a bed and breakfast now. It doesn't look like a very bad room to stay in if you spend the night, but I'm sure the prisoners there had a much different experience at the time. One of the jail cells is still in the original condition, as close as it can be, and you can see here what some of the bunks would look like back in the day. On one of the bunks, they showed examples of some of the keys and weapons that inmates tried to make. And here they have a mannequin to show you just how cramped the cell actually is. In this case are items they found during the renovation of the jail.
And this is part of the jail as well. Now it's an inn. And this is where the gallows were when they would do the hangings. And according to the guide, they were kind of like a social event. And people would come and bring food and watch the hanging. Here are the stocks in front of the Jailer's Inn. I don't know if they're original, probably not. Chris, did you have fun?
I did have fun.
Then I bought a bottle this morning.
What was your favorite part?
Probably sharing a jail cell with you.
Oh, that's nice. Scott showed me this cemetery that's behind the jail, and here's the sign. I'll let you freeze frame and read this if you'd like. Here are a couple of graves that have seen better days. Okay, Scott, what were you saying about the graves being above ground?
They was concerned about the bodies being buried back underneath the ground, thinking it was going to contaminate the water supply. So in order to combat that, they decided to start putting the bodies above ground but then people started getting concerned about disease in the groundwater, water leaching in there with the bodies, so they moved the new cemetery outside of town. So a lot of the bodies have been removed here, but some of these are still from the Revolutionary and Civil War era.
And this is the grave of Proctor Ballard, and he fought in the Revolutionary War. And as usual with these older cemeteries, you find a lot of sunken graves. This must have been a family plot. There's a border around it, and unfortunately it's pretty overgrown. I think one of the things that makes old cemeteries interesting are the old sculptures that you'll find. Chris and Mindy have never been here, so let's go take a look. It looks a little different than the last time I was here. Looks like they've moved some of the exhibits around. This is really cool. Here's a speakeasy door. And then here are two names synonymous with Prohibition, Al Capone and Eliot Ness. And these are various bottles from the 1920s and 30s. And it's for medicinal use only. This is one of my favorite rooms, the stills. And this is a prescription that was written for people if they wanted medicinal liquor. I like the creativity of some of these bottles. So Chris, are you bellying up to the bar?
I am bellying up to the bar. See what they have on tap.
I don't know, he seems kind of petrified. Or you must be scaring him.
I don't think he likes me.
He won't blink. And this is downtown Bardstown. Very quaint, pretty town. Chris, you look adorable.
Thank you so much.
Oh, it's got that little mini pearl thing going. And for my pepper garden, I got some alpaca poop. Chris, would you like some of my alpaca poop?
No, thank you.
Oh, how about you?
That's a crappy gift, Cashew.
Oh, I'm sorry. And this is where Scott and Tracy are staying the night. I don't know if you can tell, but the chandelier is shaking. Maybe it's Henry the Ghost. Maybe it's not. This is Scott and Tracy's room, and they're on the second floor. They look like a really nice place, and Scott and Tracy said they liked it as well. The bathroom was a little cramped. It had been remodeled, as you can tell. But it was nice, and if you take a look on the right, you can see where they continued the bourbon theme by making the stand-up barrel. One thing to keep in mind, if you do stay there, the second floor is not handicap accessible, so you may want to ask to stay on the first floor. And now we're going to have dinner at the Rickhouse. Did you bring your appetite?
I sure did.
Here's the menu, and I'm going to have to talk over copywritten music. Here's the some of the drinks. If you like bourbon, you can get a bourbon flight. There's different ones you can choose from. There's appetizers, salads, signature steaks, burgers, seafood. and chicken.
So Scott, you got the steak and what, scallop potatoes?
No, this is the 4-cheese mac and cheese
Oh, 4-cheese mac and
and
cheese.
bourbon mushrooms.
Bourbon mushrooms. And Tracy, she got steak and a baked potato.
And asparagus.
And asparagus. And Chris got steak and what else?
Au gratin potatoes and the mac and cheese.
And then Mindy got steak
Yes,
with,
Brussels sprouts, and then the scallop potatoes.
and then of course I got the hot brown.
The restaurant is called the Rickhouse because it has a Rickhouse theme, as you can see.
I know you.
I know you.
The five of us decided to end the evening with a horse-drawn carriage ride, and as you can see, the horses are beautiful. Well, that was a lot of fun. I want to thank Scott and Tracy for letting me film their room and to tag along on their trip. And I want to thank Chris and Mindy for coming along as well. And if you've never been to Bardstown, you should definitely check it out. I think you'll like it. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Be sure to like, subscribe, and ring the notification bell. In the description box down below, I'll have links to my PayPal and my Teespring, as well as my Patreon, if you'd like to help me take my adventures further. So until next time, everyone, this is Cashew signing off.